to own it. Just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here. Oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you.
Thanks for coming on the show today.
My pleasure.
I've wanted to have you for a while because you are like a Fresno legend.
Wow, that's news. But anyway.
That's news. Oh my goodness. So how long have you been performing?
Well, I guess professionally, I mean...
right. There's a lot of layers to that.
Well, there are a lot of layers. I guess you'd say, well, if I started earning money, I was performing professionally. But even in high school, my Spanish teacher had a band. It was like a Tijuana brass style band. So for $15, I got hired to play drums for his group one time.
No way.
Oh, yeah. But most of the professional part probably started when I got to college. My freshman year at Fresno State, I was hired to play in the Fresno Philharmonic. So I did that all through school, and that was a professional, a paid gig for me.
That was pretty young to get that kind of paid gig.
Yeah, well, there was an absence of percussionists to do what they needed, so I was the right person in the right place at the right time. So I kind of got drawn into that. And it was a good experience for me.
So you did that before college or after college?
That was during college.
That was during college. So what is it like doing that? Because you're going to school learning this. You might actually have been learning more doing that, and then you have to go back and do your classes, and it's kind of like, how do you divvy your time to each?
Well, you just you have to schedule your time carefully, because when you're going to school, if you're taking a lot of units, your time is pretty well, especially as a music major, your time is pretty well spoken for. So you just make it work somehow. You kind of have to keep your nose to the grindstone, and there's not a lot of time to goof around.
Were they nice to you and understanding about you doing the other stuff? Because I'm sure sometimes the worlds collided. Maybe you couldn't.
It was no, actually, it worked out pretty well. School had its time, but the Philharmonic, in that case, they only worked on weekends. As far as it was either evenings or weekends. As far as the concerts were weekends. So
you had to rehearse.
We rehearsed in the evenings. So school in the day, evening rehearsals, and then concerts on the weekends.
So that was just music for you.
Yeah, I think if you're into something like that, if you enjoy what you're doing, it doesn't seem like an awful lot of work.
Were you one of the younger ones at that time in the Fresno Philharmonic?
Yeah, there are a few college students in there. My college roommate, he and I both were hired as percussionists. The first program
That's
that
awesome.
they did needed some extra players, and there were a couple of solo spots, and he got the xylophone solo spot, and I got the snare drum solo spot in that first piece, in that first concert. And so that kind of paved the way for us. They knew that we were able to play up to a certain level, and it opened up the door for us to work with the Philharmonic through our entire college career.
That is awesome. What a great resume.
Yeah.
Usually try to get that kind of job out of college, not during college.
You're right. Yeah. Well, Fresno, we have these opportunities, but the pool of musicians was not deep. So coming into college as a decent high school player, and then college, I was able to get shuttled into that slot without too much trouble.
Okay, so what happened after that? Because I know some of the bands you perform with is very different music than the Philharmonic. So
Right. So I really, as a percussionist, I try to be really well-rounded. That's kind of what you do as a music major, especially if you have other interests. So I played for the opera as well, the Fresno Opera Association, but I would play in the jazz band at college, or I tried to not do too many things outside of college other than paid performances. So there's a big band in town called the Hal Magny Band. I played for that group in college. But a lot of my experience has come, well, after college.
So tell us about some of those.
So there's one, I guess, that slips in a little bit before that. After my fourth year of college, at the end of my fourth year, I got hired to play in a symphony orchestra in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. So that was a 2-year contract. So that kind of took me out of my game plan, which was to do a 5th year of college and finish up. But anyway, that was a great experience to play in an orchestra. Now you're talking about, normally in a situation like that, you would have to audition for an orchestra like that. I was just lucky enough that they were looking for percussionists. Sometimes it's who you know. So they had an American percussionist in that orchestra that had gone to school at the University of North Texas, which is a big music school, and knew the gentleman who became my first teacher at Fresno State. So 4 years later, he was there when I was a freshman. I had him for 2 years. He left to go to another college. But 4 years later, when this opportunity came along, they were looking for a percussionist. This timpanist of that orchestra, an American, contacted his former, someone that he was in school with, and said, "Who would you recommend? We're looking to hire a percussionist." And so my former teacher recommended me.
Wow, that's so I love stories like that. That's really cool, all the intricate parts. I mean, you never even knew or met the person that was looking in the first place.
No, it was just a phone call out of the blue, and completely changed. I had planned to stay in Fresno and finish, after another year, finish college, and this took me way out of that. So
what was that like, living over there?
It was a great experience. Of course, it's Rio de Janeiro is an international city, so people are coming there from all over the world. It's a beautiful, just geographically beautiful place to be. It's right near the ocean, which is one of my favorite places. People always ask, "Where's your favorite place to perform?" You've been, several places. I always love the warm climate, and near water is great. So it was not only beautiful as far as the geography, but there's so much rich musical history that comes out of Brazil. So with samba and bossa nova, and they have, just like we have several styles of music in the United States, they have a rich history of all kinds of music in Brazil. So I was there playing in the orchestra, but also able to absorb a lot of the Brazilian percussion and music.
I bet you love it. That must have been eye-opening, because that's probably a lot of stuff that you weren't used to just have that experience and hear that.
Yeah, it was great. All the percussion music, they have a whole different set of instruments that are Brazilian. So it's different from classical instruments, it's different from Latin American instruments, and so they have a whole different style of playing and so forth. So being able to get paid to play in an orchestra and do that every week, and new music all the time, and then going out and trying to absorb what was going on in Brazil, it was an education all to its own.
That is so amazing. So then after that, what happened after Brazil?
So I decided to come back and do a fifth year of college. Graduated from college, but that fifth year, the jazz band at Fresno State, I was in that. We went to Switzerland and toured Switzerland and played at the Montreux Jazz Festival. We also did a 5-day tour of California with Johnny Mathis. So they hired the jazz band out of Fresno State and the string players out of the Fresno Philharmonic. Because the last concert would be in Fresno, they decided to hire the band out of Fresno. We started in San Diego and worked our way north. And Johnny Mathis has kind of a history of using some Fresno musicians. There were others before me, so that all fit and lent itself to us doing that tour.
And did you perform with them outside of that? So how long was the tour?
It was just a 5-day tour. It was, I maybe forget the cities. It was San Diego, Claremont, Santa Barbara. There was a fourth place, and then Fresno. I can't remember. Maybe Bakersfield. I don't remember where the fourth place was.
And then you kept in touch with him and did stuff later?
No, I didn't really keep in touch with Johnny Mathis. His drummer had been Jim Gandulia, who was from Fresno. And so that was one of the Fresno connections. He later left to work for a drum company, Rogers Drum Company, had one of his former students replace him playing drums. So when I did that tour, this person was playing drums, and I was just playing percussion on that tour. But I still kept in touch with Jim Gandulia. And later, he came back and became the musical director for Johnny Mathis. So we were still in contact.
Wow. So who are some other great people that you've performed with?
Well, fortunately with Johnny Mathis, that led me to working with other people while working with him. So we did the Boston Pops Orchestra, which is John Williams as the conductor, the famous John Williams of Jaws, Star Wars, E.T., all of those film scores. So and then on that show that we did with the Boston Pops, Natalie Cole was a guest because it was featuring the music of Nat King Cole, so a tribute to Nat King Cole. With Johnny Mathis, we've been able to work with Patty Austin, Dionne Warwick, Henry Mancini, Denise Williams, a number of people like that.
What were some of your favorite? I know that everybody's good, it's hard to say, but what was somebody that you were really struck by that you worked with?
Patty Austin was an incredible singer and always someone that I admired. She was a studio singer, so able to do anything really vocally. You know, we worked with Dionne Warwick. Dionne Warwick had such a string of hits and is so well known. That was great to share the stage with her. Henry Mancini, another film score writer. It was great to work with Henry Mancini, and he was a kind of a character, a little prankster on stage sometimes.
What did he do? Well, we got to mention one of them.
Well, we were playing, and he was at the piano, and he turned and looked at the orchestra and grinned, and he had darkened out one of his teeth. He had this big black... That's
so funny. Yeah. And you guys just didn't laugh? You guys held it together while
Well, we chuckled, but it wasn't enough to change what was going on.
You guys were seasoned pros. You just went with it. That's funny.
That's right. Yeah, just keep going.
Wow. Okay, so you just seem so busy.
Well, I like to keep busy.
Break time, though? I mean, like, how does it go? And I'm sure there was a lot of conflicts of like people wanting you for something and you've had to turn things down because you had other things going on. How did that work?
Yeah, so when I started with Johnny Mathis, that was pretty much my principal occupation, and we were actually on retainer when we weren't working, so that whenever they said, hey, we're ready to go, then that was our first priority. In Fresno now, Johnny Mathis retired in May, so I now have much more free time as it is because I'm not out on the road with Johnny Mathis. So I have a number of groups.
That just happened now in May?
May, that's right.
So you've been tied up this whole time?
I started with him in '81, so almost 44 years.
Oh my goodness.
But even when I started, we would work for a few weeks and then we'd have a couple weeks off. We'd go out for 2 weeks, come home for a week, go to England for a month, come home for, have a couple weeks off. So it was back and forth, in and out. And I lived in Fresno for part of the time. Mostly I lived in LA and then moved back to Fresno. So when I was in Fresno, I was still able to do a few other things. I moved back to Fresno in 2000 and eventually got hired to teach music at Fresno City College. So it was a matter of juggling my touring schedule with teaching percussion and so forth there. But fortunately, they allowed me to work out my schedule so that I could keep my weekends somewhat free. All the teaching that I did at Fresno City College, I could put into the first 3 days, 4 days if I had to. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I could pretty much do my teaching load and then take off and tour from Thursday through Sunday and then come back and teach again on Monday. So it worked out pretty well.
Wow. You must really love it. You never got burned out. You didn't feel like you were burning the candle at both ends?
Sometimes I was burning the candle at both ends, but I never did get burned out. I always loved the travel and the performance on that end. And teaching, I had some great colleagues and some great students, and it was a good experience. I felt like I was doing some good for some young musicians, so it was all good.
So did you ever have time to compose some of your own works, some originals, or not really?
Yeah, a little bit. Nothing of any real consequence. I would do some arrangements for the percussion ensemble. There'd be a couple of little solo pieces I would write, or I'd play in the Fresno Community Concert Band, and one time they asked the percussionist to perform for a brunch they were having. At the end of the year, they would have a brunch to kind of celebrate, and they would have some performances take place, so they asked the percussionist if we would do something, and so I thought, sure, we can do something, but I couldn't put my fingers on a piece that wouldn't be too much work bringing in a lot of extra instruments. So I wrote a piece that would only require 4 music stands for 4 percussionists. So we actually would perform on the music stands, and that went over really well. So the conductor of the band asked if we would perform that piece on his 25th anniversary with the band. So we did that. And then recently we were asked to perform that again this coming October. But I don't compose a lot of pieces. There are better composers out there than me.
Well, and I mean, I don't even say you had a lot of time to do that. You were like, they were making you here, there, and having to do certain types of music. That's wild. What are you doing now? You have different bands. I know you'd been rehearsing every Tuesday in one band.
That's right. Well, in the summer, Kingsburg City Band functions, and they do outdoor concerts in the park. So that happens for 6 weeks. We rehearse on Tuesday, 1 rehearsal, and then we do a concert on Thursday. And that's been going on, that band, I think, for 125 years. Not with all the same people, but with some of the same people. So that's one of the things in the summer. There's also a local band, another concert band that does kind of military functions. They're called the Sounds of Freedom. So I recently did a concert Sunday for them in Clovis. I play in a jazz quartet, and there's another friend of mine that has an organ trio, and I played for his group last week. There's always something going on. Oh, I play in a folk rock band. 5 of us. It's a lot of vocals.
What's that one called?
That's called Fire and Rain. We just performed at Papa's Place in Clovis over the weekend.
Oh, wow.
And they're actually performing again this Friday at Moravia Winery out between Kerman and Fresno.
But you're not performing with them?
I am with them. I'll be with them.
Okay, so you have a lot of things coming up. What are some things that you're excited about coming up that is open to the public?
Well, that would be one. I play in the spring, the fall semester. I play in the Jazz Composers Orchestra, which operates out of Fresno City College. It's an adult group, mostly really good jazz players around the area. A lot of educators, and that's been going on for several years. But it only operates in that fall semester. We do 2 concerts, one in October and one in December. The December concert is usually at Roger Rocca's. See, what else? I can't remember what else.
There's so many things. Are you good on social media or not really?
I'm not.
Do you ever promote where you're going to be for people that are?
I'm not usually the one that promotes that. So
it's per band kind of, huh?
I beg your pardon?
Is it per band? Each band is promoting?
Usually. We just finished a series of 10 concerts. Fresno had this Measure P grant series,
yes.
And that's going to be an ongoing, every year the grant, you can apply for that grant. So Jazz Fresno applied for that grant, and we had a Latin, they call it the Latin Jazz Fresno Big Band. We just did 10 concerts in the Fresno area throughout the year, and that just finished. Our last concerts were the end of June. So we've applied, Jazz Fresno's applied for that grant again. We won't know maybe until September if we were approved or not. But hopefully that band will continue if the grant continues.
Well, how are we going to know where we're supposed to see you if you're not active on social media?
That's a good question.
That's too many bands to keep track of.
You're right. Well, if you can follow Fire and Rain, that would be one. I guess the Sounds of Freedom. Those bands have a presence.
Okay.
I just personally have kept a low profile. It's probably not a good way to further your career.
Well, you're pretty busy. Again, I can't believe you stayed this busy. That seems like a lot of work.
But it's enjoyable work. If you like what you're doing, it doesn't seem like work.
And so your son is also a great musician.
Yes, he's done quite well for himself as far as keeping active locally here, and he seems to. I hear from my friends or from other adults that I run into, "Oh, I saw your son, and he was so good." So it's always great to hear about that.
Are you guys going to perform anytime soon together? I know you have it's not often.
So there's one of the big bands that I perform with. I think we're doing September 7th, if I remember correctly. And my son Burke is usually the Sinatra singer for that band. So there's a good chance he'll be on that performance with me. And that's usually with that's for the Central California Big Band Dance Society. They usually have an event, I'm going to say 4 times a year, but it might be more than that. It might be once a month, but they rotate bands, so I don't do those performances that often.
And you've never subbed in one of his bands that he has?
Not, so he's in a band called One Hot Minute and another one called Max Headroom. That's a 90s cover band and an 80s cover band. No, I've never been invited to sub in that band. But there's another big band that he sings in that I sometimes sub in, and that's the Joe Lenigan Band.
Oh, wow.
So we do occasionally get an opportunity to work together.
Is that fun to have a son that took after you and musically?
Yeah, it is fun. It's great. Right, I mean, I like music and any kind of music, and it's nice to go out and hear him perform and see what he's up to. it's great. It's something that we have in common, something we can share.
Was it hard to give him pointers growing up? Because I know that's got to be hard. Like, you probably had an opinion about everything he was doing.
I do have an opinion. Well, so initially he's always been pretty receptive to what I had to say. Initially, he started out in marching band, I'm going to say, and he was in the Clovis School District, he was in Buchanan. Prior to that, in junior high, middle school, he was in the choir, but he was also in a percussion group. So he was maybe following in my footsteps as far as the percussion group, but I saw him sing at an open house in middle school, and he was the featured soloist on a Beach Boys tune called Barbara Ann. And as soon as he started singing, it was, like I say, it was an open house with their parents and students. The girl started reacting and screaming, and I saw his eyes widen, and I saw the spark be ignited at that point. When he went to high school, he was in the marching band and not in the choir. He was not doing well in math. His sophomore year, he was in the snare drum line and doing very well, playing timpani in the concert season, doing well, but not doing well in math. So in order to get him to do what he needed to do musically, I told him, look, Burke, I need you to bring your math grade up or I'm going to take you out of band, which is not what I ever wanted to have happen. I love band.
So did the grades get up?
No.
Oh.
So as a parent, I had to stand by my word.
No.
And so I said, you can't be in band, which was the last thing I wanted. Fortunately, Buchanan High School had a great choir and a great choir teacher, Roger Bergman. So his junior year, Burke got into choir. And then I found out that they were bringing back the state honor jazz choir. There's always been, for a long time, state honor bands, which would be the best high school musicians in the state of California, and they audition and come together to form a concert band. Well, they also have an honor jazz band, and they had an honor jazz choir, but I think it had been dormant for a few years. Well, when my son happened to be a junior in choir, we found out that they were bringing that back, and we found out a week before the audition was due. So I worked with Burke, and we prepared his audition and sent a tape in. He got into the honor jazz choir, which I think was maybe only 12 students in the entire state of California. That was a great experience. Later on that year, he said, Dad, I think I want to do my own recital. Now, why was he thinking he was able to do a recital? Well, as a junior, I got him involved with a local singer, Debbie Rude, who had her own business called The Voice Shop. She would take singers and train them, whatever music they wanted to sing, she would work with them to help them improve their skills and learn how to sing better. And a lot of it was karaoke tracks, and a lot of it was popular music. So I took Burke to one of those recitals, and after it was over, I asked, does this look like something you might want to do? Because he was already in choir and already singing. He said, yeah, I'd like to do this. So I got him hooked up with Debbie, and we'd have weekly lessons, which he didn't prepare for as well as I thought he should. And we'd be on our way to the lessons, and I'd put the cassette in the car and make him practice. We had about a 15 to 20 minute drive to his lesson.
Wow.
And make him practice, because I didn't think he'd practice enough. He'd be just good enough in his lesson, partially because he just had some natural talent, and partially because I had grilled him in the car, that he would do pretty well in his lesson. And he kept going like that week after week. Initially, when he started, I was wondering, what is it that I'm going to be able to stand to listen to him practice at home? And I thought, Frank Sinatra. I'll get him started on Frank Sinatra, which has paid off because now he's the Sinatra singer in those couple of bands.
You're the reason. I love that.
So that worked out. And I think I mentioned that he decided, Dad, I'd like to do my own recital. So there's a venue down in the Tower District, the Starlight, and they used to have different musical events there. I think you could rent that building out. So we rented the Starlight, and he did a recital. I have my oldest brother was a theatrical lighting major, so he wanted to do the lighting. My son's grandmother always loved to do like table decorations and food items and all that. So we got the place looking really good, and I got 10 karaoke tracks for Burke to sing to. I think he did a couple of those on your show earlier. And he performed 10 songs for this recital. and he really did a great job.
Thank you so much for coming on the show today. You were amazing, and I really hope I could see this concert coming up, maybe Friday, or especially the one you do with Burke.
Okay, well, again, I think that's a Sunday, September 7th. Yeah.
I got it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on the show today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Well, the reason you were on the show today is because I saw you dancing, and I thought it was really cool. And not just you had this whole just troupe and team, and everyone was dressed so lovely and beautiful and vivid. And it's it's so cool because, I mean, I know this exists everywhere, but I think a lot of times people come to me and they're like, Sparkle, what's going on with the arts in Fresno? Sometimes we're lacking, sometimes we're this, sometimes we're that. And so I always try to tell people we have some cool stuff going on, just sometimes not everyone knows about it or sees it, and then you have to really be there to feel it and experience it.
Not only do we have cool arts going on in Fresno, we have way cool arts going on in downtown and the Tower District. So it's not just arts in Fresno. Fresno's a big city, but just come on down here. It's all happening down here. That's when I started doing events at Full Circle. Oh my gosh, a long time ago. That was a big deal. It's got to be down here.
How long have you been dancing?
A very, very, very long time. I've been doing...
Since you were like 3 or...
No, not that young, but Middle Eastern dance, belly dancing, almost 30 years. And then I just started studying flamenco a couple of 3 years ago.
That is so cool.
Thank you.
And then you said about the Polynesian. So tell our viewers all of it. Just say where have you been doing the last few years? Like, where do you teach dance at?
Okay, I would love to tell you about that. I teach my classes at Diana's Studio of Dance.
And we've had her on. She's great.
Isn't she great?
I love her.
We just had her big birthday party.
The big birthday party.
Oh my gosh, it was so wonderful. I danced. It was really, really fun. I've been teaching there for a number of years. I've been teaching since 2001. A community education beginning belly dance class through Clovis Adult Education. And I always like to say I've taught everywhere in town for them because, you're at a school, you're at the yoga studio on P Street, and then I was at Studio 65 for a long time. And then during COVID, we lost Studio 65 and I started at Diana's. She's one in a million. You call her and say, I don't have a space anymore. Well, no, don't worry, Mija. I will have a space for you. Don't worry. So
she seems very efficient like that.
I love that. She makes, the woman's good at moving the earth.
So it's Clovis Adult School, yet you guys rehearse and practice in Fresno.
In Fresno. And I was the first teacher that Clovis Adult School went out on a limb and said, and I'll never forget her, Linda Stockley, she was my supervisor, my boss. I said, Linda, I got to teach this class in a studio because I was teaching in a middle school cafeteria. We had to break down the chairs.
Oh my goodness.
And set them back up when we were finished. The poor women, who lots of them were coming from work, had to walk like half a city block to go to the bathroom. I just said, no, No, we're
The
grown-ups.
struggle is real. It's
Yeah.
funny just to find, but people don't realize how hard it is to
And
find.
so I told her I found a spot, and she went to the board and said, I got this teacher. I know, because I couldn't find space in Clovis at all. It was all booked in the evening. I found a little spot in Fresno, and she said, I will get it. I will make it happen. And she did. I was the first one that they approved to pay for a studio space in Fresno, not Clovis. And we've been doing it ever since.
And that makes all the difference in the world. Now you guys can just come, park, and go to the bathroom, when you want to.
Seriously.
Not
Change
have to
your
break down a bunch of,
And a lot of them, these women, they come from work. You know, it's nicer to be in a studio where you have a little changing area, and let's be. They're adults, okay? They're adults. Let's be respectful.
So you've had this for forever, and anybody could sign up to be in these classes of any age.
And I also teach a intermediate advanced level as well. I teach the beginning level through Clovis, and the intermediate advanced I just run on my own through Diana's.
Oh, wow.
But they're all taught at Diana's.
So I saw the belly dancing is what I saw, right? Mm-hmm. Can guys belly dance?
Guys do belly dance.
That's so cool.
Of course. And there's a great tradition of men belly dancing, and it varies a bit from country to country. And there are some countries, to be fair, where you will not find men belly dancing formally. But if you ever go to a concert which features, Middle Eastern music, and several years ago, I went to see Hakim and Khaled, very, very, very well-known Middle Eastern musical artists. And it was in Berkeley. So a friend and I motor to Berkeley, and we get there, and the men are all out in the aisles. The women, not so much. But the men were all out in the aisles singing and dancing and dancing and singing. And it was so, yes, there's a great tradition. It's,
Yeah, like, Middle Eastern.
I was just going to say,
all
aren't
the guys
you Armenian?
dance together, yes.
Exactly.
Yes, all the guys dance together. It's
and
great.
the women dance together, and most of those countries are Muslim countries. And so I only teach women out of respect for the women who come and say, I can't be in this class if there are men. Okay, no worries. I don't usually teach men. If a man needs to have classes, I can hook him up. I can tell him people to study with. But no, in fact, I've never had a man complete a class. I have one friend who, when he's in town, he lives in Hollywood. When he's in town, he stops in and takes class with us. But most of the time, it's just women. And it's a really good thing. It's a wonderful thing. You can just see, you can just watch. The clothes go from being loose and sloppy to being more fitted and showing off their figure. And they come in and they're like showing me something on their phone, or look at this dancer. And it's really nice to see that happen.
And the outfits are really elaborate. What's the story on that? How do you guys, everybody just buys their own outfit? Is it for every month, or do you guys buy a few for a year? How does that work?
Well, I come from a tradition of, when I started doing this, and I was dancing in a restaurant, I've been dancing in restaurants for a long time. There was no internet. there was no internet. And so you had to know, you have friends, and they know somebody who's got stuff in her garage because she knows people overseas, or you go to a casa and you bring your money and you could buy a completed costume. But I always make, I sew. I've sewn since I was a little girl, so I was real lucky.
You do a lot of things. That's so cool.
Thank you. I've always made my costumes.
I love that.
And I'm not going to say I've made every single thing, but I've made the bulk of them. I've made myself. And sometimes, especially when everybody was getting started, we would have stitching. Oh, I don't want to say a bad word. It rhymes with stitch. It starts with a B. Stitching.
That's awesome.
And we would come over and cut stuff out, and I could show them how to sew things.
How fun.
And it was. And then you got the internet, and nobody had a single worry anymore about having something to wear.
So now that you guys have so many outfits from what I've seen, how do you guys switch off to know? Because that kind of gets a lot if you have to buy a new outfit every month.
You don't have to. No. Nobody has to buy any
They kind
of
of buy
it.
a couple and then kind of rotate.
I personally don't ever tell the ladies what to wear except for one dance. The very first dance I teach them when they're beginners, I'll say, you need black tights, stuff you wear to class, your black tights, your black top or your tank top if you're shy, and then just get a hip tie around you. That's all. That's the only thing I ever tell them. Everything else, I'm very proud of this. I've never told a woman what to wear, and she always shows up looking great.
So they all come so elaborate. Well, some of them are matching, though. They just figured it out. A few of them got together to match. Oh, okay.
Especially if you buy stuff off Amazon, people go, oh, that's really cool. Well, here's the link.
I love that. That's really cool.
Me too. I don't want to spend my time doing that.
So you have an event pretty much every month, a monthly event that the public is open to the public. It's free. We can watch it. How long is the event usually? How long does it take place, the dancing part?
We do a 2-hour window. So if we start close to noon, you'll be out having drinks somewhere or eating dinner by 2 or lunch or whatever. We'll be out the door by 2 o'clock. I like noon to 2. Most people can make it. Then you can go on and have your evening.
Well, that sounds like a great time. It's a perfect time of day, especially on a Sunday.
Exactly. And it has always worked out because, Summer Fox, they're really sweet people. And they always say, you bring a lot of people in here to drink that wouldn't normally be drinking at noon on a Sunday.
And then what's the story with the Polynesian dancing?
Okay, so it's not just Polynesian. We got off on a big old tangent. I've had Polynesian dancers, and they're wonderful because have you ever had Martha Kuma on?
I have not.
You should.
I'm down to.
Oh.
Tell her.
Okay, and it's a big deal. And they prep for they have a huge studio. They prep for huge events that are competitive for groups and for soloists. And outside of Tahiti, the largest competitive Tahitian dance, or I should say Polynesian dance event, is held in Merced, California. Go figure.
Really?
Yes.
That's good to know. Okay.
Yes. And so since their competitive season starts like mid-March, when this first happened and I was having to look for somebody to book in on March, and I can't keep going to the same well too many times, so I'm thinking,
I know what that means.
Oh, and I know about the Polynesian Club, so I reached out to Martha and I said, don't you have people in your organization, youngsters, people that are not really professionals, less experienced? Wouldn't you like to give them an opportunity? And this doesn't cost you anything. All you have to do is show up. And she, sure enough, I was able to talk her into it. She said, we have this big competitive season coming up. And all of a sudden, it's getting longer and longer. First, she's telling me, we'll do like 30 minutes. Okay, that's fine. Big 10-minute intermission, that's 45 minutes. That's an hour. That's fine. I'm not charging admission. That's fine. The next thing you know, she's like, more and more people want the opportunity to perform in front of an audience. And so then she did a whole hour, like a whole hour of performance. It was a nice 2-hour block.
Wow.
Yeah, go figure. And so we've had Polynesian, we've had folkloric, beautiful folklorico, Spanish, mestizos del valle.
So what kind of?
That is Mexican folkloric dancing.
So,
and it's beautiful.
Like I know salsa.
Okay, no, this
so
is...
explain, like,
okay,
give an
Mexican
example.
folkloric dancing comes from Jalisco, and it goes way back to the time when the Spanish colonized Mexico.
Okay.
And each region, and I never knew this until I started hanging out with folkloric dancers, each region has their own style. Their style is particular to that region. Their costumes are amazing, and this group, their costumes are gorgeous. The braids that the women hang in their hair, they're gorgeous. The men are wearing white guayabaras and slacks and a sombrero, and everything is pristine. They're gorgeous, and they're so well rehearsed, and then the gentleman's name is Vicente, and his wife, she gets out there and educates you Like, why are these people from Puebla wearing black costumes? Well, if you go back and look at the history, they were kind of patterning them after what the Spanish were wearing back in the 1600s.
Is it like that girl that danced with the bananas on her head?
Carmen Miranda?
Yeah, is it like that or no?
Okay, I believe she was Cuban.
Okay.
But, you know.
This is my ignorance, but I'm sure other people,
So, no, all this means is when they come, I'm going to make sure you're there, because you learn a lot.
I'd love to. That's what I'm trying to visualize now.
And the whole goal of this, when I first started doing it, was, so we have so much richness in this area. I mean, you were just talking to somebody who makes sushi. He made sushi in Merced, California, and now he makes it in Fresno. I mean, we have such a culturally diverse area here.
We really do.
And not only that, I mean, it all comes, maybe, you know, not all of it, but we grow it all here. And the same thing can be said for the arts. I mean, they all come from here, and all these people are local, and a lot of them with Mestizos del Valle, they're kids, they're children, they're 7 and 8 years old, and they're adorable. So I always, you know, me as a performer, you never follow kids and dogs, right? So they have they have their own performance day, and so yes, it's they will do a lovely show all about the different regions of Mexico. And then you can, you know, you look at it and you can see, yeah, that looks like Mexican two-step dancing. Not Mexican, country two-step dancing.
Wow.
Well, you know what? Started in Chihuahua, Mexico, probably.
That's pretty cool. I'd love to see that. So when's that going to be?
My plan is they are September. So I believe it's September 5th. Is that the first Sunday of September? I should know this, and I don't.
I think
the 5th.
I think
it's the weekend after Labor Day.
Yes, that is the weekend after Labor Day. But
yeah.
I think the 6th is a Saturday. So I think
maybe
it's the
7th.
I
think you are correct, Miss Sparkle.
But this weekend, August, this is going to be really. I'm going to be here. We're going to be going to this. So this is.
Yes, you are.
So August Hafla. So what is it? What's the word Hafla?
Hafla is an Arabic word that means dance party.
Oh, we're going to have one big dance party.
And traditionally, now remember, this all comes from a culture very ancient and very far removed. The women would dance together. The men would not be watching. But we're in the United States, so we all dance together.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. So
the women are very sexy, so I think every man should be there.
That's how I met my husband.
Really?
Yes.
Oh wait! Now you brought it up. Now you have to elaborate on that. You have to tell that story.
Oh gosh, it's a cute story.
Okay,
so
you gotta tell it.
We met at a Super Bowl party in 2003. And what was happening was I was teaching a very small, like a semi-private, in a dance space over on First and Barstow. And one of the women that was in the class, she was a ballroom coach, so she would get the space. And so there were 3 women in the class. It was a semi-private, and we were meeting on a Monday night. And I had just, long story short, I had told my mother that I could not go to my sister's house for a Super Bowl party because I was invited to a Super Bowl party. And she said, okay. So I go to the Super Bowl party on Monday, not the Super Bowl. I go to dance class on Monday evening, and we have our class, and I say, okay, somebody's got to help me. I lied to my mother. I straight up lied to her. Who's got a Super Bowl party I can go to? And one of the ladies said, when's the Super Bowl? So I knew that wasn't happening. And then the other lady said, oh, I can't bring guests. It's the gourmet club I belong to. And then the other woman said, well, we have a Super Bowl party every year. It's people that work with my brother-in-law, and my husband was an air traffic controller at the air traffic tower. Everybody goes. So I went, and that's where we met.
And what, did you dance for him?
No, actually, no. He just flirted shamelessly with me. He was there with a date.
Oh, wow. That's a great
that
story.
Guy that you met out there.
Wait, so he dropped the date after that, after he met you?
Well, you know, he was being the gentleman. It was a huge home. Oh, sorry. A huge house. And I would be in one room chit-chatting with people, and the woman that was my dance student, she was there, and we're chit-chatting. And he'd be off in another part of the house talking to this, other people. He knew everybody there. And then he'd come over and he'd flirt with me, and then he'd go away, and then he would come back. At the end of the evening, he came back and he said, well, I'm going away for a week, but when I come back, you want to go out on a date? I said, okay, we'll do that. So that we did, and we went dancing.
That is funny.
In fact, we went dancing at the Club Fred.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, first I had a casual, and so he came and watched, and then we all hung out, went to Club Fred.
That is a great story.
Thank you. We've been inseparable ever since.
I love that.
Thank you.
Okay, so what's the social media that we can keep up with you and your events? What should we be following?
Well, Annette Federico. I do have 2 pages. I have a Facebook, Annette Federico, and then I have Annette Federico -belly dancer. I'm not always as good at that one as I am on the other one, but I always try to make sure I have this information on there. And then I'm on Instagram. What am I on? I think I'm just at Annette Federico. I don't know.
Well, that's a cool name. It seems very unique. So if we look up Annette Federico, we'll find you on one of them, and then we can follow that.
And I have a website. It's a fun website. It's not always up to date. Just going to let you know that up front. And bellydancingbyannette.com.
Oh, perfect. That's easy. Thank goodness it's easy.
And it'll tell you how to get in touch with me. Feel free. Email me.
Because you can even do private, so just so people can know, because you seem to know everything about dance. It's not just exclusive, so you guys could DM her about other things or couples dancing and all kinds of things. You're the
because
go-to.
You know what? I'm hooked up. I know people.
Right.
So yeah. And then, I wanted to tell you about the November event.
Okay.
This is another guy you want to have on, my flamenco teacher.
I will have him on.
Okay, because the flamenco group is doing the show at Full Circle in November.
How fun.
It's fun. There's a lot going on here. And had you been to Summer Fox before that event?
I didn't go to that one. I've been to Summer Fox, but I went to the other one at Full Circle.
Yes, but I'm very... it's nice to have Summer Fox up and running, and now they have food.
I do like that area. I do like that place a lot. So I'm excited about it. I can't wait till Sunday. And then, we're going to follow you everywhere. Thank you so much for coming on my show today.
Wow. I was so nervous about being on your show.
Well, next time you come, we're going to dance. So.
Yes, we are. We are. I promise. And is this our space here?
Is our space here?
Well, this is plenty of room. I just have to be a little careful with my veil, and
we'll make it work.
We will make it work.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm really excited to have you because you've done a lot of things. Tell our viewers a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah. Well, my name is Jerry Yang. My family moved here from, let me go back a little bit further. My family came we escaped from Laos to Thailand. And so we lived in the refugee camp in Thailand for about 4.5 years actually.
What was that like?
I was only a kid. And
so what was it like there? Did you know what was happening, or did you think it was like?
I remember. I remember quite a bit actually. Being the camp was even though we were very poor, there was a little bit of happiness there still, because we were able to get away from oppression, if you will, and just having the hope that one day we would get to go to America. That
4 years is so long. You must have, at some point, your parents probably lost hope at some point.
Yes.
Is this ever going to happen?
Yeah, very long. And to make a long story short, I lost some of my cousins that I grew up with. They died in the camp, of course. So whenever I talk about it, I do get a little bit emotional.
So why did they die in the camp?
Malnutrition, diseases.
So it was really that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Very
horrible.
Bad. Yeah. As a boy, I used to have a bloated stomach, because of malnutrition, of course, worms and stuff like that, so. But
how old were you when all this was?
We got into the camp when I was 7, and we got out when I was 11 and a half. Yeah.
That is it. Wow.
Yeah. But I'm here. That's the most important thing, right?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay. So what have you been doing since you've been? How long have you been in Fresno?
So my family came. We went to Nashville, Tennessee.
I love Nashville.
Yeah. You've been there? Mm-hmm. Okay.
One of my favorite
Yes.
places, actually.
Oh, really? Yeah, me too. But we lived in the projects, of course, that. And for about maybe almost a year, one of my uncles from Kansas City said, "Hey, move over here. There's opportunity for your father to learn English and maybe get some vocational training, job training." So we decided to move over there. And after 3 years of living in KC, another uncle heard that Fresno is a great place to farm. And of course, my father was a farmer then, back in my country. So we moved here to grow cherry tomatoes.
Did you bring any? Just kidding.
I can run to the farm right now. I'm sure I can find you something smart. But for 4 long years, we did that, yeah. Saved up a little bit of money, and my father bought his first house on the west side of Fresno, on Church and where Edison High School is, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. And so what do you do now?
I am a restaurant owner, yeah. And my restaurant, obviously you see it on my hat, it's called Shobu Japanese Cuisine, and it's located on Blackstone and Herndon, yeah, inside the California Plaza. So I've been cooking and entertaining guests, greeting guests, buzzing the tables, washing the dishes.
That's what you and your restaurant owner. You do everything. You clean the toilets. People don't even know. They assume that you
wear
hire
multiple
someone for
hats.
that.
You have to.
Yeah.
And it's just so hard because you can't. You got to do some too. Otherwise, you're going to spend all your money, paying people, and what do you have at the end of the day? Very little. So you got to help, to save a little bit.
At your restaurant, do you guys do some shows, or would you do the big display of stuff?
I used to have I think what you meant was teppanyaki, right?
Kind of that. You have the fire a little bit, but
right. Yeah, my other restaurant that I used to have in Merced, we did that. Yeah, we had that. But this one, we just strictly ramen, sushi, and teriyaki, and pho also, and curry. Those are the main dishes we serve at Shobu. Mm.
But you brought me none of that. No cherry tomatoes. Oh my gosh! Come on, well, that's great.
You have to come.
I have an excuse to come now. I have a place to go. Next time I'm craving that, which that sounds sounds a little bit hot right at this moment. But in a couple hours, that pho sounds really good.
Well, I didn't bring it because I want you to come. And
you have it fresh. I know. That's an experience. The kind of food you guys serve, it has to be fresh.
It has to be fresh.
Because it's so good. Yeah. No, I love that. Okay, so how long have you been there on Blackstone?
Since 2019.
Oh gosh!
Right before COVID. Yeah.
Poor man.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! What did you think when all that happened?
It was tough. It was rough and tough, and also sad at the same time. A few of my friends in Fresno had to close their places down. But thank God I had a little financial cushion, if you will. So I managed to kind of stay open, and. A lot of the cooking were done by my wife and myself, so that helped a little bit. Yeah. But,
you had a place in Merced before a restaurant.
Did. It's called Pocket Eights.
So why'd you move from there to here?
It was just a lot of commuting. Yeah, a lot of commuting.
Because you lived here and then you had the restaurant. Why did you choose Merced to open that?
Because there was no Japanese restaurant at all in Merced.
Wow.
Yeah. So especially teppanyaki, hibachi, and so I figured maybe Merced,
That's really cool. Yeah. So then now after you were there, did it start booming? Is there more things that appeared?
Actually, I think there's only a couple of sushi places, but they're very small places. And based on what I heard from some of my customers, still travel from previous customers, I should say, from Merced to Fresno to dine at Shobu. So they said, Jerry, we miss Pocket Eights. Can you just come back? But long story short, the commute was just too much. Yeah. too much. There were nights that I drove home like around midnight, sometimes even past midnight, and I would fall asleep at the wheel.
Yeah, and that's really scary.
Yeah, very
I
scary.
think that happens a lot with people that have to do these commutes, you
Yes.
know?
Yeah.
Okay, so my curiosity, you're from Laos, and then you cook the Japanese style food. Can you explain a little bit about that? I was like,
Yes. So as a kid, I was always hungry, you know, very poor.
Literally.
Very poor, very hungry. And in the camp, I had this dream. You know, I had this, it wasn't like, not like when you sleep, you have a dream, but I was thinking to myself, when I get to America, I'm gonna work very hard, study very hard, and someday I wanna own my own restaurant so I can eat whenever I want. You know, I don't have to ask anybody. But that was my dream back then. And so I decided to make my dream come true. And I chose sushi because I believe sushi is also an art. You know, like the beauty of the food,
Right,
the
that's
colors,
true.
you know, the presentation. So that really, that excites me, you know, for some reason. And I want to make the best dish, the most beautiful dish, you know, for my customers. So, yeah, plus sushi is pretty healthy. Yeah, not too much. You don't use a lot of oil or stuff like that, you know, and so it's pretty fresh. Yeah.
so you've been on Black Zone now. I'm sure you recovered since COVID. Now you guys are booming. You guys are great. And I know that you're friends with AJ, the whole Black Zone market,
Yes.
which we had just talked about on the show.
Yeah.
So tell us a little about what you're going through now in 2025.
Well, sadly, we've been struggling with the homeless issue, you know, and you know, it's a day-to-day, you know, issue, problem that we have to deal with, sadly, and you know, there's only so much that you can do, you know, and I care about the homeless people. They're human beings. And also, you know, God says to to love other people, you know, I mean to care for other people, and to care for the poor, and you know I get that, and I try to do my best, you know, but there are times that you literally have to. I don't want to use the word chase, but sometimes you have to almost have to chase them away in order to run your business. I'm going to give you a little example. At my place, we have a little patio outside, so there were days that they would climb over the fence, if you will, and they would go inside. And I know winter it's cold, and I don't blame them, you know, trying to find a place to sleep. But when I get there in the morning, obviously they were still sleeping there, and I would try to talk to them. And I open at 11, but sometime by 11, they would still be there, and I had to do something, and customers are showing up to dine. And so, I mean, things like that I have to deal on, maybe not on a daily basis, but at least maybe like once or twice a week. You know, I have to do that. So it's an ongoing issue, you know. Not to mention some other. I have to clean my area, you know, outside my restaurant. I have to continually clean that every morning to sweep some of the trash out there, you know. Otherwise, if you go to a restaurant, right, and you see those outside, chances are you probably want to, you know, go elsewhere, you know. So, you know, things like that. And again, I'm not trying to degrade or say anything mean about the homeless. You know, I sincerely do care. And
I think if anyone's sincere, it's you with your story. So I believe that when you say that you care. I understand.
Yeah, why? Because I know what it's like.
You do.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, I know what it's like to be poor, to be hungry. So.
Wow. And so what's going on now? You and AJ work together with a lot of other people on Blackstone. What do you hope to see happen?
Well, I'm hoping that our local leaders, hopefully they could come up with a plan, and help us out, at the same time, give hope to the homeless, give them a place where they can live, they can thrive, and they can survive, and maybe do something better for their lives, and I know it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time, but it's going to take somebody who really cares, and really gather people together and put a concrete plan together and really follow through that plan and make it happen.
How did you shoo them away?
How do I what?
How do you shoo them away? Did you bribe them with food? They give them food if they
not
leave?
Really. I believe in when you treat people right, it's how you talk to people. It's not sometimes it's how you talk to people and approach people, and just show that you care, show that you show them that they're human beings just like you, and don't be mean, don't be degrading, don't be harsh with words and actions. But most of the homeless people, I'm sure, some of them had a great life before. Some of them are maybe they used to have very good jobs, and so maybe for whatever reason why they ended up where they are now, we should not judge them based on their current situation. But whatever we can offer, but at the same time, just talk to them nicely, and for the most part, they listen.
Were you ever
They
scared?
understand.
Because sometimes I get scared, you know what I mean? I'm like a little girl myself. I've been in situations like that. Do you ever get scared? I mean,
Not really.
Because now they know not know where you live, but they kind of know where you are. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
never know if they're on something. So you
Exactly.
never really got scared of approaching them?
Not really.
That's
No.
good.
Yeah. Some of them I had to kind of repeat. See, I'm opening my door for business. I would really appreciate if you, go somewhere else so I can do my business, And as long as you keep urging them, but doing it in a good tone of voice, in a kind way, if you will, eventually they'll listen to you and they'll move.
So what are you planning to do now? You have your business. Are you going to politics with AJ, or what exactly?
No.
You're like, no. I know you're pretty busy with your business, so.
I will never ever be a politician. I'm just trying to voice some of my concerns and help some of my fellow restaurant owners on Blackstone, and especially in the whole Fresno and Clovis, because I believe that business owners like myself are the true engines of the economy of our state. For example, my restaurant, I employ about 12 employees, and they depend on that revenue in order to support their families. So if my business doesn't survive, they're going to be in trouble.
They are.
They have to go elsewhere to get a job to support their families. So and some of them have been with me since Pocket 8s in Merced. We're talking
Really?
like 15 years, like 15, 16 years.
So wait, you brought them, they were living there and you brought them here?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. So I really need to focus on the cooking part and not the politics. But again, I'm just trying to do my part, and voice my concerns, and hopefully, if the local leaders hear my what I say today, hopefully they will consider, maybe. I'm looking for maybe if possible, maybe all local restaurant owners or business owners come together, and they would take time and listen to our concerns, and maybe we can contribute some ideas, or
What are some of the ideas that
a
you
lot
have?
of us can collaborate, together. Honestly, I don't really, I don't
I'm
really
sure you
know.
guys have
but-
talked when you guys get
Yeah.
together for your Minutes for the Blacksmith. What are
Yeah.
some of the ideas that you're kind of like, what's an idea that you would like them to hear particularly? There's one idea you could put out there.
Can I go to my notes?
You go to your notes.
Yeah,
No,
I took,
I know,
I took
it's
some
like
notes
there's a
on my
lot.
phone, and so I.
Because you guys get together and talk about these things. No, I'm the same way. I love it when you guys are brainstorming through bounce back
Yeah,
ideas. You have to
so-
put the notes. If you don't, you'll forget, because it's so much
Yeah,
that you
so,
guys probably are brainstorming when you guys get together.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure maybe they have some of these services already. Like financial assistance, rental assistance. I don't know if they have those, but maybe landlord incentives that they can provide to some of these the homeless people. Other services can also be I'm sure they have shelter already. So but the shelter needs to be adequate, if you will. I heard stories like some homeless people they refuse help. Mainly
Heard that
because
too.
there are those that refuse help, and I know there are some that don't. They just want to be free, if you will. They would just want to survive on whatever they have on the street, and that's okay with them. And I'm okay with that too. That's people's choice. We're in a country with freedom, right? Opportunity and freedom, and they can do whatever they want. But for those who really need the help, get back on their feet. Really make something for their lives. Perhaps maybe some rapid rehousing, if you will. Maybe allow them to utilize rapid rehousing programs to really quickly move them out, from shelter to a more stable environment, if you will. So those are some of the ideas that I have, and maybe all of us can share together.
And what do you want us to do as a community? Besides go to your business, everyone's got to go over to
I was going to answer that. Well, number one for sure, come to our business and support us. Help support us. Because without our customers, we can't survive.
Right. No, so we definitely got to go over there to support you. And then has any customers interfered with that when there's homeless people there? Have they ever said, go away, we're eating?
Sometimes, because I have a little sign that says restroom is for customers only. And sometimes the homeless people would come and use the restroom. They will make a little mess in the bathroom, of course. And a few customers would come to me that there's a mess inside the restroom, and I would have to go and clean it.
So they wouldn't really help you.
Yeah, so that didn't help me. So, but other time they would leave shopping carts, of course.
Oh no.
Clothes, bites, by my door, and or they even block the entrance to my restaurant. So little things like that, and I had customers waiting to go into the restaurant, but because there's a bike right there, they can't go in. So
they're blocking
they walked away. So there I lost 2 or 3 customers already, and that's revenue that I could have gained.
I hope things get better. We're gonna follow you. What's your social media that we could follow you at?
It's Shobu Japanese Cuisine. On
Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
Awesome. We're going to follow you where to go. And thank you for making me hungry. But I really hope everything gets better. We're going to watch. We're going to follow you on that. We're going to follow AJ's success. And we're going to follow the Blackstone. What's it called? The Blackstone
Merchants Association.
Blackstone Merchants Association.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on my show today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Felt right in the moment, felt right in the summertime. It felt right drinking cherry wine with you. I just wanted to own it, just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now such a mess here. Oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you. Now I must confess here. Oh, I must confess, dear. Don't think I'm in love with you. Winter is coming and I don't know what to do. And there's no more use in running, no more running to you. And I don't want your loving, I don't wanna be just friends, knowing all this time we were playing pretend.
It's a mystery.